taking place, as she described, right in the middle of a changing of services. So that further complicates things too, because you have a different flow of people, coming and going. There's activity, potential distractions happening, right? While someone is now carrying out this horrible act.
Right, and she described the fact that Joel Osteen was present there, so we'll want to find out what his condition is and where he is right now. He has tremendous security, whether it follows him out to say goodbye to congregants who don't know, but certainly when he's up on stage, that stage, I've seen it, that stage has security all around it, no one can really charge him. And these are like concerts, these are huge events. And so making sure that, at least by this one eyewitness, this did look like it was a sort of transitional period and lots of people were not seated at the time. And so just figuring out, getting people back together and then figuring out where leadership of the church is key. We have no reason to believe that this was anything more than sort of a scary shooting at a high profile place that has global outreach. I mean, these he is known globally. People watch these things live, and so just being able to tell what in fact happened will be important for the Houston police to do as soon as possible.
And Juliet, while we're talking, you can see the positioning for a news conference is going to take place right outside of that, what looks like right outside that church in about 20 minutes or so from now. And of course, we'll monitor that and possibly even take that live as it's happening. We're okay. All right. So Juliet, just ahead of this press conference, what's your feeling as to the kind of information that investigators want to have at hand to, encourage the investigation further and also make a good assessment to perhaps allay a lot of fears in the community there about what happened?
Yeah, this is a big deal for the city and then also for congregants who are watching, and we don't know what was heard on air. We don't know what videos were going on. So Houston Police Department knows how to do this. We've had challenges, and I'm being nice here, with other Texas police departments about the disclosure of information. It is just not acceptable anymore. These shootings are happening too frequently. Houston knows how to do this. Just tell us, if others were harmed, if there's any other fatalities, where leadership of the church is, that's going to be of import to people who are, who view the church and view Joel Osteen as the equivalent of their religious leader, the head of their church, and then where the investigation goes from there. Houston knows how to do this and hopefully sticks to the game plan, despite the fact that this is a big church with a lot of controversy and politics around it at various times. Doesn't matter for purposes of today. Just give us the numbers, and that's what the public deserves.
Yeah. Okay. Juliet Kayyem, Jean Casares, thank you so much. Of course, aerial pictures right now around Lakewood Church where this shooting took place. Reportedly, the shooter is down, and again, in about 20 minutes or so from now, there'll be a press conference. We'll monitor it, if not even take it live, if we're able to do that. Meantime, the other big breaking story that we're following, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, is back in the hospital. Has been transported to Walter Reed Medical Center for a second time now in the past 3 months. CNN White House correspondent Priscilla Alvarez has more on this. Now, he has been transported there. We know he was transported there earlier when people did not know, but he was hospitalized earlier for prostate-related issues. So this really would be his third hospitalization, as we know, right, in recent months. Priscilla?
Well, we're now learning that he was transported at around 2:20 this afternoon. It's only a few hours ago by his security detail to Walter Reed Medical Center. Now, this statement from the Pentagon press secretary says that the reason for that was, quote, symptoms suggesting an emergent bladder issue. Now, this goes on to know that the secretary is retaining the functions and duties of his office, and as the deputy secretary is prepared to assume the functions and duties of the Secretary of Defense, if required. To your earlier point, Rodrigo, this of course comes after the defense secretary was hospitalized for complications following prostate cancer surgery in early January. He was then discharged in about mid-January, but all of that caused a firestorm in Capitol Hill and at the White House because the president and Congress did not know at the time that he was hospitalized or the reason for why he was hospitalized. And since then, the defense secretary has apologized, saying that it was mishandled and committing to better communicating should it come up again. And that's what we're seeing play out today. In fact, this statement explicitly notes that the White House and Congress have been notified that the defense secretary was taken to the hospital this afternoon. Again, this is because of an emergent bladder issue in early January. The reasons were because of complications following prostate cancer surgery. The Pentagon committing here to keep updates coming as they have them. But for now, all we know is that he was transported with the security detail earlier this afternoon and that he is retaining the functions of the post.
Okay, Priscilla Alvarez, I keep us posted as you learn any more information. Of course, we're wishing him well. All right, coming up, President Biden held a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. What he said about a potential hostage release in Israel's ground operation in the city of Rafah.
The United States of Scandal with Jake Tapper next Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Sometimes it takes a different approach to see the possibilities all around you. With Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format, get support every step of the way to help you stay on track. Imagine your future differently with Capella University.
This healthcare network uses CrowdStrike to defend against cyber attacks and protect patient information. But what if they didn't?
This is what it feels like when cyber criminals breach your network. With CrowdStrike, you get AI and industry-leading intelligence that will keep you ahead of modern adversaries, detecting threats and preventing breaches before they happen. When it comes to cybersecurity, don't risk it out with your business. CrowdStrike, we stop breaches.
There's nothing better than Subway Series footlong, except when you add on an all-new footlong sidekick. We're talking a $2 footlong churro, $3 footlong pretzel, and a $5 footlong cookie. Every footlong deserves a perfect sidekick. Order one with your favorite Subway Series sub today.
I got this $1,000 camera for only $41 on DealDash.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch sold for less than $20.
I got this KitchenAid stand mixer for only $56. I got this barbecue smoker for $26.
And shipping is always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Y'all, Wayfair is the talk of the neighborhood. Come on. We wanted a recliner.
But it had to be chic.
No. We Wayfaired it. Wayfair for the win. Hey, man, we're looking fancy. Fancy, huh?
We Wayfared it and saved a ton.
Wayfair does it again. It's beautiful. I know you Wayfair.
Oh, girl, pick Wayfair. Tile, faucet, no worries.
Guess the Wayfair word is out. Wayfair, you got just what I need.
Find a great deal for your ideal hotel. Open Trivago, type in where you want to go, select your check-in and check-out dates, and search. Compare prices for the same hotel and save up to $30 a night. Hotel Trivago.
The bedroom suite with deliberate details and modern functionality. For the indoor enthusiast, check in at Puma.co.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity has block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection.
That is
Choose VPN
February.
recommended by Forbes Advisor.
February.
NordVPN. Cybersecurity.
February.
Here's your parachute.
Certain it's okay? Are you born print certain?
Certainty matters, so congratulate coworkers or say thank you with promotional products from 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
There's two things a young man will be: cowboy or a gangster. And a gangster's out of style. I got back to my roots. We come from a long line of cowboys. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my aunt even rode horses. When I see all of us out here on this ranch, I see how far our legacy can go.
The United States of Scandal with Jake Tapper, next Sunday at 9 on CNN.
President Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking on the phone today for the first time in weeks amid growing tensions. The conversation comes as Israel plans to evacuate more than 1 million Palestinians taking shelter in the southern city of Rafah as it prepares for a ground offensive. Civilians say they have nowhere left to go. Today, Qatar is calling on the UN Security Council to prevent Israel from committing what it describes as genocide. And on Capitol Hill this afternoon, the US Senate, in a key vote, moved one step closer to passing a bill that would provide tens of billions in assistance and military aid, not just for Israel, but also Ukraine and Taiwan. CNN's Jeremy Diamond joining us live now from Tel Aviv. Jeremy, what do we know was, I guess, the nucleus of the conversation between President Biden and Netanyahu?
Well, first of all, it's important to note that this is the first time these two men have spoken since President Biden was able to call Israel's military response in the Gaza Strip over the top, and it comes as there are clear tensions between Netanyahu and the White House. We're told that most of this 45-minute call focused on these hostage negotiations that could potentially provide a lengthy ceasefire in this war in Gaza, and it comes as Netanyahu has slammed Hamas's latest counterproposal as delusional, whereas U.S. officials have really sought to focus on the fact that there has been real progress on these talks in recent weeks. CIA Director Bill Burns is set to go to Cairo on Tuesday to continue those negotiations. And so this was clearly a key call ahead of that next critical meeting, as Hamas has also been meeting with Egyptian and Qatari officials. But we also know that another portion of this call also focused on what the Israeli military is telegraphing may come next. And that is a major military operation in what has become the last refuge for so many Palestinians. 1.4 million Palestinians currently living in the southernmost city of Rafah. We're told that President Biden told the Israeli Prime Minister very clearly that an Israeli military operation in that city should not proceed without serious and clear plans for how to evacuate the civilian population from there, how to ensure their safety, and that the president also talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu about increasing humanitarian aid there. So a very clear message from the United States at a time when so many countries are expressing extreme concern about this potential military operation where there are so many displaced Palestinians.
And do we know, Jeremy, whether Netanyahu gave any detail to President Biden how people would get this safe passage?
No, I mean, at this point, it seems like the Israeli military is still very much in the planning phase to try and prepare for that eventuality. We know that the Israeli Prime Minister said today on U.S. political shows that he's directed the Israeli military to plan on both fronts for this military operation on the one hand, and also to provide quote-unquote safe passage for those civilians. But there are very little details about exactly what that will look like. Here's the Israeli Prime Minister earlier today.
Victory is within reach. We're going to do it. We're going to get the remaining Hamas terrorist battalions in Rafah, which is the last bastion, but we're going to do it, and in this I agree with the Americans, we're going to do it while providing safe passage for the civilian population so they can leave.
And so the Israeli Prime Minister talked about those civilians moving north, but what we know is that north of Rafah, there is just enormous destruction, with a majority of the buildings and structures having been either partially damaged or completely destroyed. And one of the reasons why Rafah has become that last refuge for so many displaced Palestinians is because that is also where much of the aid is coming in, via that Rafah border crossing with Egypt. And so humanitarian aid groups have much more infrastructure in Rafah than they do anywhere else in the Gaza Strip. So planning for how to shelter these so many of these people, how to feed so many of these people, provide clean water is going to be a major challenge. And so far, no details from the Israeli military about exactly how they will go about that.
All right, Jeremy Diamond in Tel Aviv, thanks so much. All right, let's bring in CNN political and national security analyst David Sanger. He's also the New York Times White House and national security correspondent. Good to see you, David. So you heard Netanyahu there, who sounded very definitive that he is going to be able to grant safe passage to people, but to where?
It's a great question, Frederica, because obviously Israel said this before at various moments when they asked many of the Palestinians, the residents of Gaza, to move south as their operation began. Now they're down in Rafah, where, as you heard from Jeremy, there are, in the region, probably about 1.4 million Palestinians. That's a good part of the population of the entire strip. And they're kind of out of room because south of them is the fence, so they can't get through that. And north of them is rubble from operations that have taken place already. So it's not clear where they would have that space, where the Israelis or someone else could set up the tents, the sanitary facilities, the food distribution. Now, the good news here is it doesn't look like it's all that imminent. And of course, if the hostage negotiations work out, although Prime Minister Netanyahu sounded pretty skeptical of that, then there would be this ceasefire that might at least delay and perhaps prevent the Rafah operation.
So do you think this discussion out loud is really about trying to go through a back channel of negotiations, that really it's about negotiations, perhaps threaten, to try to evacuate people or threaten this ground incursion, when really it is about trying to find some leverage in negotiations for the release of hostages?
It could well be. At the same time, we don't have a whole lot of doubt that a good deal of the Hamas leadership is probably down in Rafah. There are going to be tunnels down underneath the city, the way there have been in other locations in Gaza, and the Israelis are going to want to get at that. The Prime Minister said in that clip that you played that Israel was very close to victory here. That is not the assessment of the intelligence officials I've spoken to from the US and from European countries. Many of them believe that a lot of the leadership still remains. Now, maybe some of their capability has been seriously degraded. And this gets to the very hard question, how do you define a defeat of Hamas, which of course is one of the Israeli objectives. The other is the return of all the hostages. And of course, we're finding these two objectives in direct competition with each other.
All right, now let me talk to you about NATO and what's being said on the campaign trail. Former President Donald Trump last night at a rally, hit some familiar themes on NATO and how, not all the countries are contributing. Take a listen.
One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You gotta pay.
You wrote about those comments today in the New York Times. How potentially dangerous, threatening is this?
Pretty threatening and dangerous if you believe that the president will carry through on it. And we know that during his term in office, particularly in 2018, he did want to pull out of NATO. What he did in that brief clip that you played, though, Frederico, was something different, something we didn't hear during his 4 years in office, which was essentially an invitation to Vladimir Putin to go test the solidarity of NATO by going after a NATO country, and the president saying that the United States would not come to that country's aid. Now, we don't know if this conversation really took place. It falls into a pattern of stories that former President Trump has told many times, where sometimes the conversation back and forth has been amended to fit his narrative. That may have been the case here. I suspect we would have heard about it if a few years ago he had told the leader of a major country that the United States would not come to their aid. But it would essentially be the shattering of NATO. And that, of course, is the ultimate goal of Vladimir Putin.
All right, David Sanger, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
All right, at any moment now, there'll be a press conference underway. They're in Houston outside the Lakewood mega church where a shooting took place earlier today. We'll bring you the latest details from that press conference at any moment.
This is the last kid. Nobody ever really leaves.
We are this close.
I should never have touched this case.
True Detective Night Country. Streaming exclusively on Max. To advance the future of golf, PGA of America chose T-Mobile for Business. With a 5G-powered innovation hub to analyze player performance and expand coaching tools. Take your business further with America's largest 5G network.
Refill? Help yourself, man. Dude, dog food in the fridge? It's not dog food. It's fresh pack. Real meat, real veggies, real weird.
I want to take you straight to Houston right now. A press conference involving a shooting at Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church. Let's listen in.
The first responders' reaction in a timely fashion to the Chief's Senator Chief Kenya. I want Houstonians and surrounding communities to know that the first responders are doing their job in protecting the public, Houstonians, and surrounding communities. I also want everyone to know that this is a perfect example of the collaboration between departments. It's exactly what we've been calling for. HPD, constables. I could just go through a list of multiple agencies representing their agencies in a very responsive way. We want to give our condolences to Reverend Osteen and his congregation. It's unfortunate on the day that we want to attend church, watch America's #1 sports event, we find ourselves gathered here to respond to this tragedy. We want Houstonians to know that they are being protected by their first responders. We want to thank the Houston Fire Department for their quick response, the medical profession who is tending to one of the injured. So as mayor of the city of Houston, I want to assure everyone that everyone is at work doing their job. Let's come together on this beautiful day, a day that we're experiencing a tragedy. Let's hug our loved ones. When you leave here today, go hug your loved ones and say a prayer for those that are involved. Say a prayer for those officers that had to drop this suspect. They're suffering right now. And all these other first responders that I'm surrounded by, they're doing their job so we can be safe. At this time, let me yield to our police chief, Troy Fenner.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the mayor said, and I think the most important message, before I get into details, is talk about the resiliency of our great city. And we worship together, we cry together, but we rebuild together. This is a tragic day to watch how we stand together. No suspect or suspects will tear down our city and our places of worship. Pastor Osteen is standing with us, and all of our partners. And I want to thank them all, our local, our state, our federal partners. I just want to give some detail here, but pray for everybody that's involved. The victims who I'll discuss here, and the onset victims, those individuals that came here to worship today and had to witness this. But rest assured, in this city, we're going to stand strong and we're going to move forward. So approximately at 1:53 p.m., a female, approximately 35 years old, entered the property on the west side here in the parking lot of Lakewood Church. She entered the building. She was armed with a long rifle and a trench coat with a backpack, accompanied by a small child, approximately 4 to 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point she began to fire. I want to compliment the off-duty officers who were working extra employment here. One TABC agent, 4 years of service, 38 years old. An HPD off-duty officer, 28 years old, 2 years of service. Both officers, the officer and agent, engaged, striking the female. She's deceased here on the scene. Unfortunately, the 5-year-old kid was hit and is in critical condition at our local hospital. There was a 57-year-old man who didn't have anything to do with it, I don't think, was shot in the leg. He's seeking treatment in the hospital. So let's all pray for each and every one of them. Once she went down, officers reported back to us that she threatened, that she had a bomb. So we searched her vehicle, our bomb squad, and also the backpack. No explosives were found, but she was also spraying some type of substance on the ground. So HFD came and the fire chief will speak briefly on that. But again, we're gonna stand strong. Again, I wanna commend those officers. She had a long gun and it could have been a lot worse, but they stepped up and they did their job. And I wanna thank them for that. As you know, when an officer's involved in a shooting, we conducted a criminal investigation, Harris County District Attorney's Office, and also both agencies conduct administrative investigations. That will take place. Both of these officers will, and the officer and the agent will be placed on administrative duty. But again, let's pray for everybody. And we stand strong here in Houston. I'll pass it on right now. Let me say this too. Places of worship. That's what they are. And that's what they will remain in our city. So it's just an opportunity for us to refocus and make sure that we all look out for one another. There will be increased patrols and a lot of conversation in our command posts with our federal partners and our local partners. We're going to increase those patrols in and around those religious institutions. And it doesn't matter which faith. We love everybody here in our city, and everybody's important. So let me pass it on to Fire Chief Pena.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor. First of all, let me thank all the agencies that are here with us. This is really a team effort, and our prayers are with, and our positive thoughts are with the injured, and with the officers that engaged this suspect. It's traumatic not only for our community, but it's certainly traumatic for the officers who had to take a life, and we worry about their mental health as well. So our prayers are with them, and we're going to give them whatever support they need to ensure that they are able to manage through this incident safely. Kudos to the first responders. The Houston Fire Department, Police Department was here within minutes. We are now dealing with consequence management of this incident. Now that the threat has been neutralized, we are going to take our time to ensure that any issue and any risk that we see is properly vetted. We have our hazmat team on scene. You see behind us, you have decon units that are participating in collaboration with the Houston Police Department's bomb squad to ensure that we are looking at every aspect that may be of risk. Right now, I can safely say that we have not found anything that is of concern to our community or to this location. But we're going to take our time to ensure that we look at every aspect. Our hazmat team, our decon team, and our rescue team will remain on scene until needed, and we're going to collaborate in this effort. We did transport 2 patients. One, approximately a 5-year-old child in critical condition. They went to Texas Children's, and we transported a second male, about 56 years of age, with an injury to the hip. He, last I heard, he was in stable condition. Both are still in the hospital. The child is still in critical condition, and we don't have any further information as far as his status. But again, let's pray for this community as a whole. This is traumatic for everyone, of every Houstonian, and these types of incidents are unfortunately something that we deal more often than we need to with. So, but we're going to remain on scene. I'm going to pass this on now to.
Yeah. Really quickly, this is an isolated incident, we believe, at this moment, okay? No further danger to our public, but we do want to conduct a methodical search of the building to make sure that nobody's in there, nobody else is in there hurt. So that will continue. We ask that the public stay away from the area and let us do our job on that. The reunification location for our parents or our family members, the Lifetime Fitness Center here. And you come up, we'll direct you, try to stay on the east side of the building, not on the west side of the building, and we'll get you reunited with your family members. Okay, Pastor.
First, I'll thank Chief and the Mayor and Chief Pena and all of these men and women did an amazing job. And it's just, you said it, Chief, it could have been a lot worse. Of course, we're devastated. I mean, we've been here 65 years and have somebody shooting in your church. But, you know, we don't understand why these things happen, but we know God's in control. And we're going to pray for that little 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased, her family and all, and the other gentleman. But I don't know, it's just kind of in a fog, but, you know, just believe that, you know, we're going to stay strong. We're going to continue to move forward. And there are forces of evil, but the forces that are for us, the forces of God are stronger than that. So we're going to keep going strong and just, you know, doing what God's called us to do, lift people up and give hope to the world. Again, I want to thank all these gentlemen because, you know, I can only imagine if it would have happened during the 11 o'clock service. We were in between services going into the Spanish service. So, you know, if there's anything good of it, you know what, she didn't get in there and do a whole lot worse damage. So we thank God for that. He's watching over all of us. And as the Chief says, we're going to keep going strong and bringing hope to the world. But thank you again.
I'm going to get Chief Gunn for translation in Spanish. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Recibimos la llamada a las 1:53.
All right, you heard from Joel Osteen there, who was giving thanks to all the first responders there and grateful that the outcome was not worse. You heard from the police chief and you've heard from the mayor there the description of some 30 to 35-year-old woman who entered the church with a long-arm rifle. And the 2 police officers who were on duty working at the church were then able to take her down. But in so doing, also a 5-year-old was shot and a 57-year-old shot. Both of those injuries, they are now being hospitalized. Our Jean Casares has been following this as well. Jean, a pretty remarkable sequence of events taking place here.
Very, very unusual sequence of events. And right now, the fire department continues to do a methodical search of that very huge Lakewood church to make sure that they don't find anything. But Frederica, in addition to what you're saying, that this woman walked in with the long gun, the rifle, had a trench coat on, had a backpack on, but was accompanied by the 5-year-old child. That is what they said in that press conference. And these off-duty officers started to immediately engage was the word. And in doing so, it appears that the
Love your
5-year-old
children.
was shot.
I know.
He is in critical condition at this point. Joel Osteen said it was a young boy. And then a 57-year-old man was shot in what we now know to be the hip. He also has been taken to the hospital. But once before they engaged her, she said she had a bomb, according to the Houston Police Department. And they saw her spraying something outside on the ground. So fire department has also engaged in that area along with the police department. They did not find any type of explosive device at this point. They don't see anything of concern on the ground of what she was spraying, but this investigation continues.
Yeah, I mean, it is remarkable, and even we heard from Joel Osteen there, who was talking about this happening in between services. This taking place right as the Spanish language service was to begin. He described, there were so many more people who were there at the same time. He's just grateful, that more injuries didn't take place, that the outcome wasn't worse than what it was.
And thank goodness that they were positioned, those off-duty officers, in what appears to be the sanctuary of the church that you would enter before you enter into the actual area, the foyer before the sanctuary.
Yeah, and it sounds like the description was there were 2 officers who were working at that church. One representing Houston police. Their instincts were, very fast. They made their observation, and it didn't take long before they actually, shot and took down that suspect.
So now we see why the church was evacuated as fast, not only because of the shots, because I think the person was engaged and the female, 30 to 35 years old, was down very, very quickly. But the fact that she had said that there was a bomb, I think made them act very quickly to get people out of that.
Oh, do you want ice cream?
Meeting, but I don't
You're
want to speculate on anything else. Next question. Go ahead in the middle here. I have no idea right now. I think she fired. We don't know, and I don't want to speculate on that. But I will say this: if it was, unfortunate, and that female, that suspect, put that baby in danger.
It does.
We'll put that
That's
blame
really
on her.
crazy.
Okay, next question. Go ahead.
She is really crazy. Using the
A
baby.
little bit louder. We do believe that. Yeah. We believe that to be correct.
I wonder if her grandchild. I wonder if
I'm not
if she's
sure.
a
Just over here
grandchild.
on the west side here, just behind us, okay? We'll get those details to you a little bit later. Go ahead, sir. I have no idea. Multiple shots. Go ahead. Nothing found. We're still.
Maybe that lady.
The entire grounds, okay?
Because she said that a company
Next question. Go ahead.
with 5 years old.
I'm not sure, sir. If we found an idea right now, if we did, we'll share that with you. But no, we're up against today on
I
this.
know, I want to see the face
I think it's
and
very
then
important for us to get before the cameras as quickly as we can, not
28 years old
competing with the
man.
Super Bowl and everything else. Let our citizens know that everything is good here, and we're standing together, and we're moving forward. Go ahead. He's not, I'm sorry, let me ask y'all one thing. I forgot to, hold up, hear me out. I forgot to say, the pastor is not gonna go with any more questions or anything today. It'll be a time a little bit later, so I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, I forgot to say it. But within minutes, sir, a lot of officers responded. I'm not sure I want to speak to him. Yeah, that's part of the investigation, and we're gonna talk to those witnesses. Some are still here, thank God, and they stayed back, so that's part of the investigation. One more with you, and then I'm gonna get over here, all right? I don't want to speculate, I don't know. The only thing that we know, that they arrived here together, Okay, next question. Yes, a white vehicle, thanks for, I failed to say that, a white vehicle, yeah. Not right now, it's just a white vehicle that we did search that vehicle to make sure there was no explosives or anything found in it. Go ahead. We don't know yet. The fire department, as the chief Peter said, they're still evaluating that. All right, a few more questions. Go ahead. I don't know. All right. Let me get somebody to ask me a question. Go ahead, and then I'll come back to you. Go ahead. Speak up a little bit. Until we get through, the pastor and his staff will make that decision, but it's gonna be closed for now. I think that was the last service for today anyway, okay? Who's next? Who had to ask me a question? Go ahead. I think so. That's what we believe at this time. It's shot in the leg, okay? In stable condition. Go ahead. I don't think so. We believe that her to be the lone suspect. As you can believe, with thousands of people in the church, when shots are fired, people run from that area. Some people may say he was a suspect, some not, but we don't believe that at this time, okay? But anybody that ran away or seen anything, we're gonna ask that they call HPD homicide, 713-308-3600. Even if you left the scene, we need to get a full statement of what you witnessed, okay? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure. I didn't talk to her. That's just what's told me. We'll gather more information. I'm gonna do 2 more questions. Okay. Somebody who hadn't asked me. You good? Go ahead. She's deceased. Yes, ma'am. Thanks for asking. Go ahead. Last one. Yes, it's still being processed, okay? That's part of the scene. And it takes hours before we clear the scene. We'll see. We'll see. We're very transparent here in the police department, HPD. So we have footage at the right time, appropriate time. And if there's body-worn camera, the officers will work an extra job. I don't know the policy for the federal agency, but we'll check with our officers, see if he has. Okay. Hey, thank y'all. Let's continue to pray for everybody. Thank you very much.
All right, when he says everybody, there are 2 people who remain hospitalized, being treated for injuries after shots were fired. Arjun Kassar is back with us, but the shooter who entered the Lakewood Church, Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church there in Houston, that shooter, who was described as a woman between the ages of 30 and 35, she was taken down by the 2 officers who were working and on duty at the church there, Gene. While she was taken down, 2 other people were injured, and it is notable that this shooter came in with a 5-year-old, and that 5-year-old was shot as well. And you heard from the police chief there, who said if that child was brought in by that shooter, and that's what they suspect, then whatever happens to that child, it's on her. But he did say he wanted everyone to feel rest assured that everything is good here. We're standing together. And now,
Yeah, I want to go to bed. Okay, okay. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know you were on the phone.
No, I'm not on the phone. I'm gonna give you pills, okay? Mm. There you go. Some water. Drink more. Drink, drink, drink. So are you ready? so tired. You're tired? Aren't you? No? Okay. Ready? What's that? I'm ready when you are. Okay. Ready. Hold on. I feel so sad today. Don't make a Hollywood style, okay? Why you gonna be sad? Hold on. Why you gonna be sad? Why you be sad? Why you be sad? Why you be sad? I can't hear you. Why you be sad? That's how I feel today. Oh, right. You know, some days you feel like crying. Don't cry. Don't act like a baby, okay? No, I don't act like a baby. Okay. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, stand straight. Stand straight. Take your time. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Backward. 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 There you go. La 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 la. What a day, what a day, what a day. All the way, all the way. You're gonna empty your bag and then you can go to bed. What? I said you're gonna empty your bag. Me? There. Empty. Okay? Yeah. No, you're not gonna stand up. It's really hard for you to stand up. Okay? I don't have to. No. Take off your eyeglass. Eyeglass, please. There you go, there you go. Very good. Good. Here. That is not a bag. Your chocolate, ice cream. Oh boy, how come the bug got in? It's winter time. Winter time, there you go. Okay, hold on. I gotta make where you're gonna film. There you go. There you go. Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay, there you go. So long. See you tomorrow. No, yeah, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day. Hello, Daddy. Hello, Daddy again. Okay. Don't want to take this. Let's go. Okay. I still have, yes. Speaking out. All right. Where should I go? This way? Want me to get through? And then we'll make you a chair or? Here. Water, got water. Water. Oh.
Call from anonymous. Call from anonymous.
¿Cuándo es el Super Bowl? Super Bowl. Super Bowl. La, Super Bowl. Okay. Super Bowl. Football. You are watching? You. No? You. No? They run and they tackle, they run and they tackle. Hello. It's talking. Somebody there. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm ready for bed. Ready for bed. To the left. To the left. Okay, can you see that? Go too far. You're leaving. One more. Now just go right now. Side. No, I'm not. I'm pushing. Oh gosh, I only push you up the table, the bed. Okay, lay down. Better? You're tired? Are you tired? I hate it. I don't have enough energy. I think I do, but I don't. Let's see, your news. Okay, don't touch the TV, okay? Can I clean the bathroom?
has been transported to Rosary for the second time in the past 3 months. CNN must respond to the outlet.
Well, what we know from the statement from Press Secretary is that he was transported by the Secretary details to Rosary Medical Center at 2:20 p.m. this afternoon. It goes on to say that this was because of symptoms suggesting an emergent bladder issue. The statement also said the Secretary is retaining the functions and duties of his office, and that the Secretary travels to the hospital with the unclassified and classified communication systems necessary to perform his duties. So this is a business in the hospital. He was hospitalized in early January for complications following prostate cancer surgery. Now, at that time in the hospital did ignite a firestorm on Capitol Hill and at the White House because the press department had not notified lawmakers or the president that he had been hospitalized for days or the reason for his hospitalization. In this case, the Pentagon is saying that they have done those notifications both to the White House and to Congress. Now, Secretary Austin has previously said and apologized for the way that his January hospitalization was handled, and that is also something that we're seeing in this with Pentagon Press Secretary saying that they're going to provide updates as soon as possible. But for now, all that we know is that he was taken to the hospital earlier Sunday afternoon because of symptoms suggesting an emergent bladder issue. Pentagon will provide updates as they come, but that is the information that we have at this point. The White House and lawmakers have to do it.
Okay, Priscilla Alvarez, thank you so much. Let's bring in CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, okay, so one more time for those who are just now joining us, what is an emergent bladder issue?
Well, typically, especially in the wake of having that prostate surgery, it means that someone who's unable to empty their bladder. It's something that was urinary retention. It can be really painful. It can cause a lot of abdominal pain. But it can also cause other symptoms of the body as well. People can actually drop their blood pressure, they can have heart rate abnormalities. As Priscilla was just talking about, this was described as an emergency. So, in addition to thinking that some of those other things going on there. Also, just again, the timeline of this, just to remind you, is the 30th of December, first project, and then it's not a bad operation now, it's just the next day. So, company declared actually January 1st, 2 weeks later, that he was admitted to the hospital for an infection. It's a significant hospitalization, 2 weeks at that point. And now, as you point out, he's back in the hospital again. It's described as a bladder sort of issue here. We don't know specifically what that is, but again, in the context of having had prostate surgery, the possibility that he has developed what is known as retention, urinary retention, that seems to be the most likely culprit here, and that could lead to an emergency.
Yeah, and a lot of pain. I mean, he's got to be really in a lot of discomfort.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And so is there, I mean, we're not really knowing, all the details of what he's experienced of this issue. Is this something where he would be admitted and be there for, a period of time, or is this something where they could treat him and then he might be released or not just, overnight at Wall Street?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's still hard to know. I think a lot of times it may involve placing a catheter into the bladder, to bring the bladder. That's something that's commonly done. Whether or not he stays in the hospital, at least to see if keep an eye on him, especially if he's having problems with his heart rate or his blood pressure. We don't know that was the case. This was described as an emergency. But sometimes someone will stay in the hospital just so they can keep an eye on somebody. Just as I would say, that he would need anesthesia for this. This is an issue that's come up obviously in the past in terms of his duties as defense secretary. Not typically something that requires anesthesia, but again, we're just going based on a very brief statement here, describing this as a bladder emergency.
Yeah. And we do understand the deputy secretary is prepared, has been informed, is prepared to assume any duties if it comes to that. All right, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, thank you so much. Of course, we wish the secretary well. Hopefully he feels better soon. All right, coming up, we are continuing to follow that shooting, which was at Joel Osteen's mega church in Houston that injured 2 people, including a 5-year-old who remains in critical condition. We're hearing from witnesses. A lot of people ask me, Ebony, what are you doing these days? Well, I have a new farm on work. Ebony, what are you doing these days? To us, I have a new platform strong. I'm doing the things I love to do, and now I can do it on my own schedule. But you know what else is most important? Balancing the two. It's such a simple concept, and it works beautifully. If you want to make such a simple concept, and it works beautifully.
My offer, get 35% off plus the 35 rates by Swayze, discount code BOO.
This is a tobacco.
I'm Shalane, and I lost 75 pounds of health. I went from this before going nothing super. I was exercising for an hour every day. It was really discouraging. No one's so easy. The weight just goes up. No one's so easy.
See if you can say that residential.com.
Okay, you're gonna watch this. 1 second, I gotta finish my laundry. Jeff, it's nice. 1 second, I use rinse.
What's rinse?
The company that will pick up, wash, fold, and deliver your laundry dry cleaning.